Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Now, I don't have a work from home job. I like when people talk back. Good morning. Thank you. All right. It's good to see everybody. My name is Brendan Murphy, and I serve as the Chief Judge here in the Magistrate Court. And on behalf of the women and men of your People's Court, I welcome you to the Magistrate Court of Cobb County. There are so many special folks here today, and I'd like to try, without getting myself in trouble, introducing some of those special folks, starting first and foremost with Rajesh's family. If y'all would please stand up and say hello. We also have some very special guests that it was a surprise to me that they're here, and I'm just so honored because nobody from Cobb County likes to drive through Henry County due to the traffic, as we all know, on 75, but they have taken time out of their day. This is the prosecution team that held Rajesh's killer accountable at jury trial. And so from the Flint Judicial Circuit DA's office, if they could please rise so we could greet them. Thank you. We also have the District Attorney of the Cobb Judicial Circuit, D.A. Allen, is here. Thank you. We have we could hold applause. We got all the applause, but now we'll hold it just to make sure we get all our VIPs. We do have our Circuit Defender, of course, our Clerk of the State Court and Deputy Clerk of the State Court. We have, I think I saw our Clerk of the Superior Court to walk in. Thank you. And many members of the judiciary from State Court and Superior Court and Probate Court and juvenile courts from not only here in Cobb but also DeKalb. So if every member of the judiciary could please rise as well. Thank you all for being here. And in the welcome, I wanted in a very special way for all the mothers in the room to say Happy Mother's Day. Because if we remember back to 5 years ago, it was a very difficult time, not only because of what happened, but in our world. At that time, it was only about a month and a half into COVID, and there weren't as many people in the office. And one of the first ways that many people in the courthouse, because Raj was beloved in this courthouse, let's be clear about that, one of the first ways that people understood that there was something wrong was that many lawyers and clerks and staff people and judges did not receive a Happy Mother's Day text from Raj. And so on behalf of Raj, I really want to greet the mothers and salute the mothers like he would have by telling you all Happy Mother's Day today. Our first speaker today is very special to Raj. Attorney Terrence Bradley is an attorney here in Cobb County, runs his own firm, is a close friend of Raj, and so I'd like to turn the podium over for Mr. Bradley to give a remembrance.
I can't stand up here alone, so I'm going to ask the other half of our trio to come up with me, and that's Tim Williams. Tim, come up here with me. Come on. Come on. Okay. I did write some things down, so let me. First of all, I want to thank the Magistrate Court, thank Judge Murphy, Tanisha, Dana, Joyette. There are so many people here in Magistrate Court that made this happen. Raj was special to all of us. He was extremely special to me, to Tim. Everyone knew that we were like three amigos. We did a lot of things together, whether it was movies, lunches. We just did a lot. Raj is one of the greatest people that I know, right, or knew. Raj, anytime I was walking in with Tracy, and there was a story that she was telling me. Raj would pick up on anything you say. Tracy said that she wanted to go skydiving, and she just happened to say it for her birthday. And on her birthday, he had all these decorations of skydiving. That's the type of person that Raj was. You would tell him something, and it just would, the next day it would happen. He was not only a colleague, he was not only a friend, he was my brother. There's not a time in my adult life that Raj was not a part of. Raj was, my law school graduation, Raj was there. My passing of the bar, my engagement party at my house, Raj was at my house. My wedding, the birth of my son, Raj came that night to the hospital. These are all things in my life that he would always be there. I knew I could count on Raj in any situation. When I was sick in the hospital, one of my most memorable moments was I was waking up and my parents were there. I had a surgery and I was in the hospital, and I wake up and there's Raj. My parents are gone and there's Raj, and he was there with me through the rest of the night. That's the type of brother that Raj was to me. Whatever the situation was, he would definitely show up. We met when he was a staff attorney and I was in law school. He helped me through that. From there, we had so much in common, right? I've already told you how we all would go to the movies together. We loved action movies. We loved the comics. We loved talking about the characters. We always talked about Superman and Batman. And I wore these cufflinks today for Raj because that was something that we would sit and talk about. Tim would dress in he has a full Batman suit.
It's tight right now. I told Judge Murphy about wearing it, but I didn't want to have a warrant on me. So. Judge, I tried.
But
Lord, thank you.
But every movie we would go to, every single movie, whether DC or Marvel, whether it was Mission Impossible, it would be the three of us, and it would be so funny. On several occasions, I kid you not, we would be trying to get there at 6:30, and who would we run into at the movies? Judge Cox. Yeah, and so that we would get there, and Judge Cox would be there. He was the best. He was the best. I know there are several members of the bar that are here, and I know I have 3 minutes, Tanisha, and I'm going to shut up. There are several members of the bar that's here, and I know that even from the defense bar, if you had a motion and you had just argued it, Raj would have the order sitting there waiting on you so that you could hand it to Judge Cox. And he didn't do that just for me. He did that for the defense bar as a whole. If you needed anything, I remember pro se people coming in, and he would tell them what to do, and by the end of the conversation, he would say, "Just wait 1 second here," and he would go and he would, draft the order and say, "Hey, this is what you need to file." That's the type of person he is. I miss Raj. I love Raj. Someone asked me yesterday what was my, not the fondest memory. I mean, there's so many. It's like, what do you have that's most in common? Truthfully, the most memorable is that we had a love for jelly beans. And anybody that knows Raj knows that he loved the black licorice jelly bean. And I love the black licorice jelly bean. And so he would buy bags of the black licorice jelly bean, and we would share our jelly beans. We would even share them at the movies. Tim can attest to that. We would even share them at the movies. And that's just the friendship that we had. So I thank Judge Murphy for this. When I walked off the elevator, I had not seen the plaque. That was my first time seeing it. And when I saw it, I instantly started crying. This is beautiful. We thank you. Family, I love you all. I cannot believe how old the kids are. They're growing. Raj will be so proud, and so thank you.
Thank you, Terrence. I wanted to share with everybody just a little glimpse of the trial. We were asked about that this week. So many people from this courthouse made that trek to Henry County every day to be with the family and to watch justice unfold. And I can tell you, we all work in this business. We all work in this business every day as criminal defense attorneys and prosecutors and clerks and pretrial officers and judges. And you never expect to be on the other side of the bar. And it was a very jarring and educational experience, I must share, to sit on hard benches and watch justice be done and not have a role in trying to make it happen on any side. And one thing that sticks with me from that trial that I wanted to share, because people ask that, and there were a lot of difficult images and different testimony and difficult videos, but what sticks with me about that trial are the words of Raj's sister, of Rashmi. Rashmi was the first witness called to give that glimpse of life, that Raj was a real person that we all knew and loved. And it's just such a Raj story that at the time, we knew during COVID, Raj was helping seniors with delivering food. Raj was delivering food through different means, like the DoorDash and things like that when this happened. And when the family was having to go through the very difficult process of going to Raj's home and preparing Raj's home after his death, there was an Amazon box that Raj had ordered. I don't think it was open yet. And what was it? He did love to order stuff. But it was a food warmer. Like you think about back in the day, Domino's Pizza, better get you your pizza in 30 minutes or whatever happens. So like a food warmer, because that's who Raj is. Whether he was helping pro se litigants, helping victims of domestic violence in the courtroom, helping attorneys, helping judges, he was a helper. He wanted people to be welcomed and comfortable and served. And so even people that would order a DoorDash, he wanted to make sure that their meal, that they spent their hard-earned money on, that maybe they were a working mother, whatever it may be, that they had a hot meal when it came to them from him, a lawyer of renown and love in this community. And so I want to share your words with this wider audience today, because the negative images, I think, that can affect so many people that we all serve collectively are what I try to minimize, and I try to remember your words when I think about that approximate week and a half when these women back here made justice happen. And so I want to thank you for that and share that. At this time, I'd call to the podium a very special person, our elected clerk of the State Court of Cobb County, Tanisha Phillips, who worked at the Magistrate Court for 23 years before, because I have to count her part-time time or she gets mad about that. So it's 23? 23, all right. And obviously somebody very close with Raj. So Clerk Phillips, if you could please come on up.
Good morning, everyone. This is so beautiful. I wrote my remarks down so I could keep it together, but thank you for being here for such a special moment. It's a privilege to stand before everyone and honor the life and legacy of Rajesh Mehta, or simply Raj. Today we gather not only to remember our friend and colleague, but also to celebrate the way he continues to make a difference. Raj was more than a brilliant staff attorney in the Magistrate Court. He was the kind of person that made you feel seen, made you feel heard. Whether you were a colleague, a litigant, or someone just walking through the hallway with a heavy heart. But what made Raj special wasn't just how much he knew, because he knew a lot. It was how much he cared. He brought humor, humility, and heart into every part of this work. Raj stood for fairness, for integrity, for service without ego. He reminded us that the law isn't just about rules, but about people. That's why this courtroom being dedicated today in his name is especially meaningful. This is a space where some of the most difficult and sensitive cases in our community are heard, cases involving domestic violence, and the real, raw struggles people face behind closed doors. It's a space where justice requires not only clarity, but compassion, and Raj embodied both. There's a quote that reminds me of him that I want to share. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Now, when people enter this courtroom, they'll see his name. And even if they never knew him, they'll be touched by his legacy, a legacy of service, of empathy, and of believing that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. So let us carry forward Raj's spirit in how we serve, how we lead, and how we treat one another with grace, humility, and heart. Be like Raj. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanisha. Our next guest is a very special guest that came over from Athens today, Dean Rodriguez of the University of Georgia School of Law. And you may ask, why is the Dean of Georgia Law School here? And the first answer may be because I've hired too many University of Florida graduates recently. I think she's checking up on me because our new court administrator, Jennifer Lear, of course, is a Florida grad, and Leanne, our current staff attorney, is a Florida grad. So I think she's checking up on me. But Dean Rodriguez has a wonderful biography that I invite you to look at. Educated at the top schools in this nation, federal clerk, private practice, professor. And her first year as a professor at the law school was actually my first year at the law school as a first-year law student, and she was my professor. And I can tell you that the adage we know at law school, that A's make professors, and B's make judges, and C's make money, was probably true. For magistrates, it might be B minuses. I don't know. But that was certainly true. And she's a wonderful professor, a wonderful dean, a wonderful human being. And she's here to talk about, today we're dedicating a physical monument. But there's also a living legacy that so many in this room have supported that I can't talk about due to the judge rules. But the dean is going to give a reflection and a charge about the living memorial to continue Raj's work in this world. So, Dean.
Thank you, Judge Murphy. There's still time to make an A if you hire some more of our grads. Just saying. I'm honored to be here today to dedicate this courtroom in the memory of University of Georgia School of Law alumnus, Raj Mehta. While I did not know Raj personally, it has been my great privilege to hear so many stories about his unfailing kindness, his endless warmth, his commendable dedication to justice, and his enthusiasm for the work of the court. Raj was an excellent lawyer, and he answered the highest calling in life. He used his skills to help people. Occasions like this one can be difficult because they remind us of the pain of a special person's absence. But they also remind us of the joy that these people bring to our lives by being a light to everyone around them. Raj was one of those lights. There is no question about that. When we talk about law and justice, we usually do so abstractly. Academics, like me in particular, tend to do this. But Raj Mehta's dedication to justice was so much more than abstract. When he had an opportunity to do something real and concrete in the name of justice, he did it, even though it meant sacrificing his life. At the time, one of Raj's coworkers said he died a hero trying to save someone he didn't even know. I don't think there are any greater words we can say to sum up who he was. He died a hero because the life of a complete stranger mattered to him. Raj exemplifies the ideal of a public servant and a lawyer. We at the University of Georgia School of Law are so very proud of him. At UGA, we are seeking to redefine what it means to be a great national public law school. We are working to match excellence with access, and we are making sure that students get an exceptional education that prepares them for leadership and service in the law. Now, in our field, excellence usually means intellectual rigor and academic prowess, but excellence also demands honesty and integrity. Excellence demands doing the right thing no matter how difficult. And I can only hope that we train future legal leaders to achieve the kind of excellence that Raj Mehta attained. I hope that we continue to inspire our students to give of themselves selflessly and for the common good. And you can contribute to that great purpose. After his tragic passing, Raj's loved ones helped establish the Rajesh Raj Mehta Memorial Endowment for Family Justice, a fund that supports scholarships, fellowships, and service related to family justice. Ongoing contributions to this fund allow us to keep growing Raj's legacy and impact. We share Raj's story with his fund's recipients so that they can expand his impact on the world, so that they can share Raj's light with others. When the school chooses who benefits from Raj's fund, we look for students dedicated to kindness, thoughtfulness, helpfulness, and service. We look for students who are committed to family justice or domestic violence prevention. We look for students who aspire to be excellent lawyers who will use their legal talents to help others. In short, we look for people like Raj. We look for people who are willing to give of themselves so that others may be safe, who are willing to light the way. There's truly no greater love than to lay down your life from someone else, for someone else. The great tragedy of Raj's death is that people like him pay the ultimate sacrifice because they believe the world can be a better place. We have all of us had a few moments when our lives, or the lives of loved ones, or the lives of strangers, hung in an awful balance. And perhaps we faced a choice as to whether to intervene, whether to act. Raj was one of the few who, in those awful moments, are willing to put their lives on the line. Those of us here today have the opportunity to honor Raj's work and life with the way we live each and every day. We have the opportunity to work for justice and to contribute to the causes he held dear. There will always be darkness in the world, but we can commit ourselves to be like Raj. We can commit to be a light. Thank you.
Dean Rodriguez, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. In this circuit, we talk a lot about the People's Clerk, Tanisha, and the People's Court, where we are. But to take time out of your schedule during a graduation weekend and come here to be with this bar, with these graduates, with this family, that's the People's Dean right there. So I appreciate you. Thank you. We all know that Raj treated all of us like family in this room. And of course, his blood family was extremely important to him. Anybody that talked to Raj for a minute knew all about his family and what was going on with his nephews and his mom and his sister and his dad, of course. Everybody knew that. And so I'd like to invite to the podium now his nephew to offer a remembrance. Mr. Bob?
It's a pretty crazy speech to follow up on, but we'll see what I can do. So kind of just the first thing is that I remember the day that we found out that he had passed away. Me and my mom were sitting at the dining room table. We were just kind of talking, and she got a phone call. And she didn't believe it was true at first until a second phone call came, and then, it kind of hit her. And I think, thinking back to that day and how far we've all come from there, now, instead of being sad, and we have this big room here dedicated to Rajesh, we can look back at him in a positive way instead of a sad way. So I'm him and Rajesh was my uncle. So as I began thinking about what I wanted to say today, I wanted to share something unique, something that only I kind of knew about or from like a familial side had known about, but really there isn't anything. To many of us, we have a professional side to us and then a personal side. When we show our professional side, we're more reserved, be more, don't think as deeply about stuff and whatever. But then on our personal side, we'll really let loose and talk to anyone about anything and be personal with them. Rajesh, on the other hand, he was the same warm, thoughtful, and intentional person in every part of his life. And that consistency, authenticity is what made him really special. When I was younger, I was into origami, as my mom knows. That's all I would do. And Rajesh knew this. And one day he came up to me between his annual Corvette calendars he would get me. And he asked if I could make a bunch of little origami peacocks. And of course I was excited. I was ready to make something and do something big. And instead of just making regular ones, he got this really fancy paper with peacock pattern and glittery, and it was everything. And he could have just made them himself, as I'm sure most of you guys know. He's a very artistic person. But instead, he brought that joy to me, knowing that I would like it, and then do whatever with them. And really, it was just the thought that I think about of him going out to bed by that special paper, think about me to make it, and really just make everyone feel like they're doing something and really touch everybody. In the same spirit, on our side, as the family member, on family trips, we would always go around having fun or whatever. But he would make sure to buy all these gifts. And I remember I think it was in Kenya. We were just at some random shop, and I was so ready to be done. I was ready to go on with the trip. I was like, why are we here for 40 minutes? But he was out finding specific gifts, and I couldn't imagine it. I was like, why are we looking for this one box? And he had a single person that he thought of for every single gift. He knew exactly what he wanted to get everybody, and he just knew everybody so personally. I like to say it's his gift hunting overdrive. He would search high and low for these gifts, and if it wasn't exactly right, he would keep moving and find something else for them. Just that level of care and consideration that he showed, whether it was gifts or just thinking about people, the Mother's Day messages, for example, really just show how deeply he cared about everyone he touched. What I want to leave you here with today is Rajesh had a rare ability to make everyone feel like they were part of his family without ever making anyone feel left out. He brought people in, he lifted them up, and everything he did with purpose and heart. When I think about his passing, I find that I haven't really cried since then. And I'm not a crier, to be fair. However, I really think I just feel pride. He wanted to always lift up people and help people as much as he could, and even in his final moments, he gave everything he had to others. My hope is that as people walk into this courtroom, at least one person will read the plaque on the front door and look up who Rajesh Mehta was, and maybe they'll walk away with a little bit more faith in humanity.
Thank you, and I know he's proud of you. In closing, I wanted to thank a few people for this wonderful dedication today. I want to thank Jennifer and Emmy from our office. They've done a wonderful job in planning this and bringing us all together to get to celebrate Raj. And I want to close with a dedication. This had been in the works for a long time. We've been talking about what did we want to do to honor Raj in a physical way for a long time. And as we were getting down to the planning, and we were saying, well, how do you dedicate a courtroom? And they all looked at me. I'm a Catholic, and these last days, we're really good at pomp and circumstance. The whole world has seen that. But everything that we kicked around felt too small, like that we would put little curtains on the plaque and open them up, or rip a paper off, or cut a ribbon. It all felt too small. And so the way I thought about the dedication was two ways in how Raj lived his life and then how we're going to carry the torch the rest of the way. Raj has dedicated this place by the way he chose to live, which was every day quietly serving people. That's what many of us have taken an oath one way or another to do. He did it without fanfare, without accolade, without newspaper articles, without social media posts. He did it. He did the work every day. In the way he chose to live his life, he dedicated a place like this. And also, it cannot be understated that, as the dean said, he dedicated this place in the way he passed. I would have driven away. I've said this before. I do not have the courage that Raj Mehta has. Raj stepped out and stepped in between himself and evil and somebody he did not know, and rejected evil and took it all onto himself. And so then, what do we do with that? A plaque is nice, a scholarship is great, but what do we do with that? So this place, this isn't random. I'm not going to tell that story. I always tell my wife, if something happens to me, don't let them name an underpass for me. I always think that's real depressing. At least a bridge. Judge Hill, a bridge, something. So it's not, I didn't want to slap Raj's name on something. We had to think about this, and former Chief Magistrate Judge Holmes, who's here, her and former court administrator, Dina Fincher, they did such a wonderful job of renovating this place, making it dignified for the people we serve. And these last two courtrooms, there wasn't enough funding to finish them. And so when these two courtrooms were renovated more recently, the idea we had, if you notice what you're sitting on, you're not sitting on a hard wooden pew like in most courtrooms. That's not just because we were tired of those Henry County pews. That's because it makes this space flexible. So we can have court, and we do have court in this courtroom routinely. We can have gatherings like this. But these chairs can also be moved. We can have roundtable discussions. We can have trainings. We can have legal clinics. This is truly, that's why it's the Raj Mehta Community Courtroom. People ask us all the time to have a voter registration drive. We hosted vaccination clinics during COVID. All of those things that Raj would want to do can be done in this courtroom because it's intentionally designed as flexible space. That's not just a story. I want to share with you, in just a few hours, all the snacks will be eaten. The dean will be at the graduation. Some of you will be in court. And this room will be transformed into truly a community room like it is every Friday. Legal aid, I see some of our representatives from Cobb Legal Aid are in the room. This room becomes our eviction clinic. When a tenant needs a device on his or her case, while the judges are downstairs getting ready to hear the case, the tenant can come upstairs to this very Raj Mehta Community Courtroom and get instant legal advice from a real attorney. They can get navigation services from housing navigators. That is a living legacy. That is Raj's life continuing. And that's why we very intentionally chose this courtroom in this style with this name as the Raj Mehta Community Courtroom. I've already thought about it. When y'all have to come to M403, it's Mehta 403 now. All right? And so I appreciate everybody for being here. This has been a wonderful celebration in honor of Raj. There are refreshments outside. There is not court until 1:30. So please, everybody, be like Raj. Visit with each other, hug each other's neck, and let's enjoy our Friday together. Thank you.